Howdy folks, this is Big Sam. Welcome to, I guess this is episode 3 technically, of Finnish Friday. Now if you've been a long time watcher and viewer of this channel, you may have seen a couple other videos in the past called Finnish Friday. In those videos we looked at an interesting Finnish Mosin, or something that had to do with Finland and Mosins basically. But what I want to do with this is change it up a little bit. I actually want to turn this into potentially a weekly show. And the term Finnish can actually have two meanings here. One, of course, we have our Finnish Mosin. This is a 9130 rifle produced by Tikkakoski in Finland during the Finnish Continuation War. Pretty cool gun. So naturally we had to get out of Finnish Mosin. But also, if it's a weekly show, it's a show about finishing the week. Okay. Maybe you're with me so far. So if you like this, after watching this video, post in the comments and maybe we'll do more of these. Basically, we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the things that happened this week. It's kind of been a crazy week. Maybe go through the mail, some interesting YouTube comments, and a sneak peek about what's coming up next, because I'm pretty excited about it. All right. So let's get started. First, we're going to go through the mail call, go through some emails we got this week. I got one from Ethan N. He says, hey, I know I'm a bit late to the video, but I've been looking into some Mosins recently, and I don't know where to get one that is in good condition. I want to get a nice and all original one. So I thought you might know where to buy one. I don't know why you would have thought that. Okay. Gunbroker, Classic Firearms, or some other site. I will be looking at pawn shops, but I don't know how long it will take to find one. All right. So Ethan, you bring up a really good question, and I think a lot of first-time or potential Mosin owners have this question as well. Now, some of us have the luxury of being able to get out of the house all the time, go to tons of gun stores or pawn shops all over the place, and find really cool things at said places. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't happen to all of us. Even a lot of us that can go to a lot of cool gun stores and pawn shops don't always find good or interesting things there. Sometimes it's just random, boring stuff to us. I mean, it could be interesting to some other people, right? But for the purposes of this channel, they may have no Mosins. And if they don't have any Mosins, you might as well just leave, right? Okay, so if you want a good Mosin and you can't find one at like a local pawn shop or something, well, what do? This is a good question. Now here in America, this is actually pretty easy. You can go to, what I recommend first is going to Gunbroker. Now, this is a good segue because I think what I'll do is just put out a separate video where we're going to talk through how to get on Gunbroker, how to make your first time Mosin Nagant purchase on Gunbroker, and sort of what the process is, what it looks like, and what the requirements are, maybe some legalities as well. There's a lot of misconceptions about it, especially amongst people who aren't really familiar with guns, but it's really not that complicated of a process. It's pretty simple and straightforward. So maybe we'll do another video where we kind of talk about, okay, these are the things you look for, A, when you're looking for a Mosin on Gunbroker, but B, this is actually how you go through the process of purchasing a Mosin Nagant. So thanks, Ethan. I think that's a great idea for a video, and hopefully it'll be helpful. Now, the next email we got is from Josh A, and Josh says, hello. I just need to say I love the videos and the depth of knowledge that you provide. I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching, Josh. I've been watching your videos for a little bit and needed to go out and buy a Mosin Nagant. Aha, we're starting to wear off on you. That's very good, sir. You, unfortunately, have now caught the Mosin virus, also known as the Big Sam virus, but not to be confused with the virus. Anyway, the only thing is I wish I saw in this video before I purchased mine. I had just recently won a Gunbroker auction and was wondering if you can tell me if I got a good price on my rifle, and if the history that they provided is accurate. I have provided the gunbroker link below and was wondering if you can possibly browse it real quickly and let me know your thoughts on my purchase. I don't mind if you could be completely honest with me, since I've already purchased a rifle and there's no going back at this point, LOL. All right, so thanks for that email, Josh. Now, we did a response to this in our previous video, so if you haven't watched that, go check it out. But basically, we take a look at the gun that Josh purchased on Gunbroker, and it's actually a really cool find. So if you're interested in it, go take a look, because Josh actually bought a legitimate retrofitted back to an original sniper rifle. It's what we'd call an X-sniper, to an original infantry rifle, rather. It's an X-sniper, but it's an original, real 1936 PE sniper, a really cool gun. The PE snipers that I see come up for sale are almost always fake. So to find a real one that someday someone may actually convert back into the original configuration with the scope and the mount, it's really cool find. One thing I wanted to mention, though, in that video, I've actually forgot to mention this, and I think it's an important point. The PE snipers are rare. In fact, if I can remember correctly, the particular model he had, which was a 1936, it was the PE sniper that Josh had purchased, they made only just a little over 13,000 of those in 1936. And one of the reasons they're so rare is because so many of those were lost in the second half of 1941. As we talk about a lot on this channel, the Soviet Union lost about 5 million rifles in a 6-month-ish window. A lot of those were PE snipers, and they didn't make that many PE snipers to begin with. So to have one that still survives with a bore that's in really good condition, top-notch find, Josh. Salute to you, sir. All right, now the next email comes from Hank in Indiana. Howdy, Big Sam. Now, before I go on, Hank is referring to the video we put about it, the Ukraine crisis and the Mosin Nagant. He says, howdy, Big Sam. Can you repeat your words from 1 minute 6 seconds to 3 minutes 7 seconds? Parentheses, joke. Inject haha in there. I was distracted by 2 deer crossing right to left behind you across the ravine. Yes. You might have seen some interesting candid appearances from deer. Unfortunately, here in Colorado, we have a lot of deer, and they pop up at the weirdest places and the most unopportune times. So apologies for the distraction, Hank, but hopefully you got a kick out of that. Now, that's not the only thing we've had here on the channel happen so far in regards to incidents with wildlife, or should I say potential incidents. One of my favorite incidents, actually, was going back to our video a while back we did on were Mosin Nagant bolts used as brass knuckles in World War I, like that, like that. One of my favorite videos. I really enjoyed that video. But what's really funny, if you go back and watch that video, you'll notice kind of on the top right-hand side, there's a big highway that goes up by where Big Sam lives. And that highway goes up to Rocky Mountain National Park. So a lot of times, especially on the weekends, you'll see a lot of cars going there back and forth. Well, in that particular video, you might notice there were a lot of cars actually just stopped, they're parked up on the road, which is sort of unusual. It's not unusual to see like someone just stopped for take pictures or something, but like 3, 4, 5 cars, that's weird. That's not normal. And I noticed that, and I thought, I wonder what that was as I was filming. Didn't think a lot of it, though. I just thought, man, that's a little weird. Well, it turns out while I was filming that, I had some family members coming down that very road. And they actually saw me filming all the way down there where I was filming at the time. Kind of surprised they were able to see me. They must have better eyesight than I do. But they saw me filming, and then they also saw a little further away from me a huge brown bear walking about, which is why all of those cars were stopped up on the road. So that video could have turned out a lot more interesting, I feel like. Could you imagine if Big Sam's there with his brass knuckle Mosin bolt handle, all of a sudden he gets charged by a brown bear? Who would win that fight? Post in the comments below what you think. All right. Appreciate that, Hank. Thanks for the joke. Next, we've got Nickel Bickle. He says, "Good day, Sir Big Sam. Just a note, I was never officially knighted by the Queen, to my knowledge. Sir Big Sam wanted to ask if the Vortex Crossfire 2 2-7 by 32 scout scope would be an good option for a scout scope on a Mosin. And if not, could you recommend me some scopes?" This is actually a really good question, and this isn't the first time I've been asked this personally. A lot of people are interested in this, and this is a really novel concept. You see, being able to take a Mosin and without permanently modifying it, putting a scope on it to improve the magnification, to make it easier to see your target, without permanently modifying your rifle, being able to go back to the original configuration again, is really appealing for a lot of people. A lot of us are getting older and starting to have eyesight problems. Some of us have vision impairments, and some of us just can't see very well, like Big Sam. I can't even see you without my glasses, and you're right there. So it's a really interesting concept. Haven't done a lot of testing with it personally yet, but I took a look at the Vortex Crossfire 2, and it seems like a potential good option. Seems to cost about $180 US. And I think what we're going to do is in the next month or two, we're going to try to pick up one of these and we're going to test it out on our rifle named David Chipman. And if you haven't seen him yet, go take a look at our video called Mosin Nagant Moldy Leprosy, because we've got a certain scope mounted on him. So it'll be an interesting opportunity to test both the Vortex Crossfire 2, as well as that particular scope mount, which we'll talk more about later. A lot of people have been asking about that too, so hopefully you're going to be excited about that one. Thanks, Nickel Bickle. That was a great one. Okay. All right, so here we have some of our top YouTube comments of the week. It's really hard to keep up with these. We get a lot of comments. I'm surprised how many comments we get, honestly. I'm surprised how many views we get, honestly. And I'm very, very thankful. I love you guys. A couple comments I want to talk about, though. One from Caden Evans. "Sir, why do you have a gun? Your voice and tone tells me you wouldn't hurt a fly." I totally cracked up when I saw this. I have a weird voice, first of all. I don't particularly like it, but it's the one that God gave me, so I'm gonna make the most of it, right? I only got one voice. And a lot of people don't have voices. So even if you don't like the way your voice sounds, you just gotta be thankful you have a voice. But by my tone, it sounds like I wouldn't hurt a fly. Well, hopefully you're correct. That's not really the type of person I am. But it brings up an interesting thing about guns. I'm interested in them from a historical perspective. This is a history channel. We happen to be focused on the Mosin Nagant history, but primarily this is a history channel. And that's something I can't stress enough. To understand what a man or woman went through during a horrible conflict, the best way to do that, the most intimate way to do that and be connected with them, is to wield the same rifle that they held. Because you can really get a good feeling and sensation of what they went through with this gun. So that's why Big Sam has guns, why Big Sam has Mosins, in a nutshell. So thanks, Caden. Here's another one from George L. "Hi, Big Sam. How is the bore on Alec?" Now, specifically, George is referring to Alec Baldwin IV, which is the name of a Mosin Nagant from our video titled, what was that video title? Yes, Mosin Nagant from the Knights Templar. So that one was a really horrible looking gun, something we're gonna do things with. But George wants to know, how is the bore on Alec? If the bore is good, just bring it back from the dead. They are tough rifles. It deserves to be whole again. Thank you for your videos, Big Sam. Well, thank you for watching, George. I really appreciate it. Now, the bore on Alec, you might have seen that video, looks really horrible. Alec's all rusted. He has what we would call leprosy, hence the name Baldwin IV. So a lot of leprosy on him. But what's surprising about this guy is the bore looks pretty nice. It's shiny. It is counterbored, so it's been used, but the bore is in fantastic condition, at least compared to the rest of them. So George, we're definitely going to bring him back from the dead. We're definitely going to get Baldwin IV shooting. So look forward to that. I'm pretty excited about it. Here's another comment from Sean Young. He says, my first Finnish Mosin, some people just call them Finns, was an antique 1943 Sacco I got 10 years ago. Now, he doesn't say which model, but from that data, 1943 in Sacco, we can infer that it is, in fact, an M39 rifle. And he says it was an antique rifle that he got 10 years ago. That's really cool. And if you're not familiar with that, is the receiver is a totally separate thing from the barrel. On Finnish Mosins, Finland never produced the receivers on Mosins. They just produced barrels. They used really ancient receivers from that were well used by the time World War I came around. Let's just put it that way. So the receiver on his gun is an antique. That's super cool. You'd be surprised how many M39s have antique receivers with like brand. It's just this weird gun that has like a 120-something-year-old receiver, but it's sort of a brand new gun because the barrel is almost brand new, and it's really nice. It's just weird in a good way. We like those guns. He also asked, what state you filming in? Well, Sean, we're in the colorful state of Colorado. That's why we have deers and brown bears and mountain lions. Oh, we have some mountain lions. Maybe one day I'll show you some videos we have of those, because I wouldn't want to trifle one of those, not at all. We have a lot of interesting things here that God has blessed us with, for sure. One other interesting comment here from Jason Tor. He says, I don't know if it's Tor or Torre, so you'll have to let me know on that one. But he says, once again, another excellent video. Thank you. I really appreciate that. When is the definitive work on the M91 Mosin Nagant rifle hitting the press? Well, that's a good question. And what he's referring to is a series that we're going to be starting called Legends Never Die. History of the Mosin Nagant rifle, where we're going to start back at the very beginning of time, basically, and work our way up through time until we get to the end of all of the different Mosin variants. But we're going to be looking at the development phases, the countries that adopted it, the countries that used it, all sorts of really fascinating stuff. And hopefully a lot of it's going to blow your mind, because I know a lot of this that we're going to talk about is probably stuff you've never seen or heard of before. Really, really cool stuff coming down the pipeline, guys. This is a good segue. So the first episode of Legends Never Die is going to be coming up soon. Now, how soon? I'm hoping within the next month sometime. Now, one of the things y'all might notice, and this is what we've been up to this week, is got some new filming equipment. So here in the studio, I got it set up with a little bit better lighting so that you guys can actually see what's going on, a different microphone, and this here, we got a big old TV you might have noticed here the whole time. This isn't just any TV. This is a Big Sam sized TV. This is what I'm talking about. This is a man's TV right here. This isn't one of those little wimpy TVs. I like this TV. And I think this is going to be cool because I can use this to sort of illustrate some things as we're talking through some things. So hopefully you're excited about this. So sometime in the next month, it might be sooner than a month. It might be a little bit more. I'm not quite sure yet. As I get a little bit better gauge, I'm going to give you guys more info as best I can. I'm a very busy man with work and all of the research that's going to go into this series. This series is very, very research intensive, and a lot of it deals with foreign languages. So it takes how long it's ever going to take is essentially the best way I can put it. But I really want to thank y'all for your patience, because I'm trying to make this as accurate and as an accurate portrayal as I can, and just make it interesting and fun, because that's really the goal here. So look forward to that. Now, one last thing, guys. You've been looking at this TV the whole time. What is that? Can any of y'all tell me what this atrocity is on the TV right now? I'm not going to really give it away, but this is a teaser of what's coming up in episode 1, and I'm really, really excited about it. So maybe stare at that for a while if you can figure out what this is. I'm not going to give you any hints. I'm not going to give it away, but this and sort of what's behind this is going to be coming up in episode 1. So I'm really excited about this, guys. I hope you are as well. Putting a lot of work into this, because it's not so much about, I want a ton of people to view this. It's more of, I want to do the best job that I possibly can, and whoever views this is going to view it. That's essentially what we're doing. We're not doing this for the views. We're doing this for just the sake of doing it, essentially. I want to do a complete history on the Mosin-Nagant, because I think that'd be really cool, and it's something I'm passionate about. And I hope it can maybe encourage you all to do whatever you're passionate about. Doesn't really matter if other people aren't passionate about it. If it's something that you're passionate about, you should go do it. Okay. So that was pretty much the show for today, guys. It's kind of been a crazy week, so thank you all for watching the videos and keeping up to date. We had a lot of stuff going on here in America with the news about the Ukraine crisis going on. I know that's crazy. And then the new Supreme Court justice vacancy coming up. That's going to be crazy as well. So just a lot to think about, a lot that we're going to be praying about here in this country and around the world. So we just take it one day at a time. That's all we can do. Leave the rest to God. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed going through the weekly news and taking a look at this cool Mosin, and whatever that is, we're going to figure it out eventually. Let me know if y'all have any prayer requests, and we'll see you next time.